Good evening, everyone. I give a warm welcome to our phenomenal supporters and viewers on this trend-setting Thursday. This evening on House Call, we are proud to introduce our special guest, the mayoral candidate for the city of Tucker, the valiant Robin Biro. How are you this evening?
I am fantastic. It's so good to be with you.
Likewise, likewise. I love the energy when we first met, and I just thought that this had to come to fruition because
Yes.
the aura you gave off and just reading your story and everything that you stand for, I'm just very, very enthused and happy to be here with you and shed light on your campaign. And
Thank you,
basically just,
Michelle.
let the people and the viewers know why it's important for them to vote and let their voice be heard. So tell us a little bit about your background. I'm gonna give a little jug. I know that you are a veteran from the Army, retired Ranger.
Yes.
Kudos to you. I know
Thank you.
Jerome Dorn, Dr. Dorn, that was just here with us. He is also an Army vet. So,
Okay, very good. So I'm in good company.
hoorah with that. Yes.
Yeah.
And you've gotten into politics over the years. I know you've done some amazing things. So I'll let you tell the viewers about that. I did my research, of course. I could tell them, but I would love for it to come from you directly.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, not that far from here. And out of nowhere, I was recruited to be a regional director on the Obama campaign. And
Yes.
that was because, interestingly enough, we launched a campaign to get smoking banned in Marlboro country in public places, and it worked. And it got the attention of the Obama campaign because they said, who is this guy that's getting smoking banned in restaurants and bars in Marlboro country of all places? So they recognized that they
Mm.
had, they knew they had something on their hands, and they reached out to me and offered me the job on the spot. And so
Wow.
I traveled to South Carolina, all throughout South Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia. And we worked on the Jim Martin runoff campaign here in Atlanta for Senate.
Wow.
Some people may remember that. And then when the campaign ended, much amazing energy working on that campaign and seeing what it meant to minorities, children, the children in these communities. It meant so much to them. That presidential campaign in 2008, nothing compared. And when I tried to go back to my desk job, Michelle, it was so boring. I ended up I enlisted in the U.S. Army as a ranger,
Yes,
and
it's so
ended up
fast.
jumping out of airplanes and doing the land, sea, and air raids, all of that. So that's how I got my adrenaline fix. And
Wow.
yeah,
Amazing. Well, definitely, very, very impressive. I also read that, you worked as political director for Fulton County.
I
And
did.
you were also a delegate for, Hillary Clinton during the 2016 Democratic National
Whew, those were
Convention.
some times. Yeah.
So, you definitely have, your expertise. You are well rounded in your
Yeah.
area, and you are also a commercial real estate agent. And I
Yeah.
mean, you've done so much, and that's something I'll definitely talk to you about on the sidebar. But
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, just very well versed, especially with everything that's going on, within the city of Tucker, even, Atlanta, in its entirety with, the commercial and the, residential, what needs to be done. So my question for you is this. Um, we know that you've taken off into politics.
Yeah.
What are your plans to involve the residents of Tucker in the decision-making process? You know,
You know, Yeah, the biggest thing that we're having a problem with right now in Tucker is transparency. We have got to get the residents involved, and we have to
yes.
make things more accessible. Do you know, Michelle, that just recently they were going to do away with the streaming of the meetings and make that inaccessible? I'll tell you, just from church, we have got to be able to stream the meetings because that's how we reach the elderly and infirm people. And those are the people that society really has kind of rejected, and that's what they've expressed to us in our church focus groups when we were asking, do we return to church in person? Do we do a hybrid form of church? Do we do it only virtual? And these people told us, look, we feel that society is not paying us any attention and has neglected us. And it's vital to elderly and infirm people and disabled persons that we continue to stream these meetings online. So that's one thing. It's transparency, it's accessibility. Has not been returning emails. It's simple things like that. It's just connecting with the people, telling them what's going on, communicating with them, and they're acting right now like it's this great breath of fresh air just to hear some of the communication. I'm going to the meetings and communicating online what is being said, what the proposals are, and they're so appreciative because I think they're starved for that right now, Michelle.
Yes, absolutely true. Communication is definitely, of importance. And you have to make sure, as you stated, our elderly, disabled, they have to, have some form of communication outlet. Their voices matter as well.
Yes.
You have to keep them active and engaged with everything
Yes.
that's going on because they're
and
part
we've
of
got
the
to reach the
community.
minority communities. I mean, you can go on
Yes.
Tucker's website. They have a media person and a comms person, and whoever's doing this right now will only show pictures of the white people. And Tucker is very diverse. It's one of the things I
Yes.
love about Tucker.
Absolutely.
So it's just not being shown. We've got to capitalize on our diversity because that's what makes us strong. And that's what I love about Tucker.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that actually touched on that because the reason why I actually, cling to you, and I'm going to say cling,
It's
because
okay.
Where we met, and I thought that was very important because you were able to, actively, communicate and interact with regular common day people. We met at the Lions Field in Tucker. You came out to the kids' pep rally, you were in support, and they loved it. You walked out with them during the parade. It was amazing. So,
it was incredible.
Kudos to you on
Thank
that.
you.
And my son is still talking about it. Oh my goodness, we met the mayor. I'm like, yes, speak it into existence. Exactly. We are manifesting and affirming it. So definitely love it. And keep on being active because that's what's needed. When you
Visibility.
when you are transparent, you're visible, you're active within the community, you're speaking to the people that actually matter. Because as you stated, minorities make up a huge part of Tucker. And yes, it's a huge diverse area. So thank you for that. Now, you pointed in the direction where we wanted to go. I know that, for your whole campaign, your quote unquote Tucker's first LGBTQ mayoral candidate.
Yeah.
Could you touch on that a little bit for us?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I was a ranger. I do happen to be the first openly gay ranger that served. It really wasn't a thing. I didn't seek to do that. I didn't seek to become the first openly gay ranger. I certainly didn't seek to become the first openly gay person on city council or the first openly gay mayor. It's just a fact. I'm a gay man. I've been open about that since I was 16 years old. I've got a loving, supportive family. I've got 2 kids that I adopted after a family tragedy. And you've met them.
Right?
Yeah, my sons, after a family tragedy, I adopted them. They're thriving here in public schools. They wanted to go to public schools because they said that's real life. And that's what I love about them. They're very grounded. They're very connected. So me being gay has really been kind of inconsequential. And it's one of those things where I've just never let it limit me in life to what I can accomplish. Whether it be the ranger thing or a career in politics or being a pundit. I mean, I've done a whole lot of national television, over 1,500 live television debates on mostly conservative media representing the Democratic counterpoint. Because look, I'm a ranger veteran. We're used to fighting behind enemy lines.
Exactly.
So I like going on Fox News and Newsmax and those places and representing for the Democrats because that's how I get my adrenaline fix now.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you have graced many platforms. So we are grateful to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here.
You've done an array of things. So definitely kudos to you on that. And, your sexuality and a person's sexuality does not define who they are, at all. So I'm very happy that you're, opening that up, especially,
Yeah.
in Georgia and, so close to Atlanta, because of course, it is a diverse LGBTQ, population, and we've have so many, of our brothers and sisters grace our
Yeah.
platform, and we have a lot of them within our media family as well. So yay, thank you. They have a voice, and we have someone that's representing for everyone, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter who you are represented for the people, period. There's nothing else
Good.
before or after it. People
That is
in
it.
general, that's
That
it.
is it.
So
Just like my
thank
time in the
you.
military, just like my time in the military, my brothers, my Ranger brothers, didn't care that I was gay. They cared that I had their back in battle and that I could do my job really well. And I'll tell you, I was non-commissioned officer of the year twice, 2 years in a row. I know.
We have a little communication glitch, but we will be right back with Mr. Byro. I know he said that his internet was going in and out a bit, so we'll wait for him to come back in. Jerome, is it on our end? Give us 1 second, guys. So a little bit about Robin Byro. As you guys heard, he is a huge advocate in the LGBTQ community. He's been doing so much for them, and I just love it. You know, there's so much going on right now, especially in the city of Tucker. Where there are legislations that are still in place that have not been passed yet, for inclusivity. And that is what he stands for. So just to continue on to what his beliefs are, and, basically just enforcing it and ensuring that everyone has a voice. And he is an amazing person. As he mentioned, he adopted two kids. Those were actually his two younger brothers, stepbrothers. His father passed back in 2019, family tragedy, as he mentioned, and he adopted his two half brothers, and they are amazing. I had the opportunity to meet them. They were out there with us, and just warm, friendly individuals. So if you are a resident of the city of Tucker, make sure that you let your voice be heard, and to cast that ballot for someone that's truly trying to make a difference. We're going to try to get him back connected. So give us a moment. We're going to keep talking. I believe he's back. Yay.
I'm back.
So we kept going. I just gave him a little bit
Sorry.
background.
Thank you.
No problem. It
I've
happens.
got
So
two kids. The bandwidth becomes a problem sometimes. You
hey,
understand,
look, it
right?
happens. I understand. Mother of four.
I
So I
just threw them
totally
off.
understand.
They're on a Yeah, I just got them off of this internet. They're on a Wi-Fi hotspot now, so I think we're good.
Oh, good. Awesome. Well, I gave them the little bit of a breakdown while you were out about,
Yeah.
why it was important, as you being the first LGBTQ mayor, because we talked about the inclusivity
Yes.
legislations that are still not passed as of yet, and gave them a little bit of background about your half brothers, referencing them
Yeah,
as
thank
your
you.
children now. So that's where we left off. So we're
Great.
going to bring
So
it back a little bit for you. Why do you, and let me rephrase that, the pandemic definitely
right.
wreaked havoc, and we are still feeling it today, especially with all these new cases and new variants coming out. With that in mind, and with what you stand for, because of course I read up on you, I know what you're advocating for. We know that Tucker has a homelessness population growing, and with everything that happened during the pandemic, it left a lot of people homeless, especially with certain mandates being passed and certain things expiring as far as protecting them from losing their homes. And of course, other people with mental health issues. Some unfortunately are veterans. I've noticed that as well. People that are dealing with like PTSD, don't know how to get the help that they need. Tell us why it's important for the city to take a hold on that right now.
For many reasons. Look, the city council tried with COVID and managing the pandemic, but they didn't follow some of the basic suggestions and recommendations from the CDC. They didn't follow some of the basic recommendations and suggestions and mandates, really, from DeKalb County. They tried to do their own thing. They provided masks, for example, to stores and businesses and restaurants, and suggested that people wear them instead of doing a mandate. Look, they implemented a curfew. That's not enough. We needed a mandate. That's just one thing. That's regarding COVID, because we had problems with the nursing homes. We saw spikes of COVID right here within the elderly community in Tucker. That was a significant problem. Right now, we're still working with the schools, trying to get. I mean, there was you saw Sean Woods just donated, I believe, 30,000 masks.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad that private citizens are doing this, but the city has a responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens to take care of them and look out for them. And this is a public health crisis. I saw public comments saying that the entirety of city council deserves to be voted out because of their response on COVID. That might be extreme, but I do think they dropped the ball. But we've got other issues too. They absolutely dropped the ball when it came to looking out for Tucker's residents with not refusing to hear the non-discrimination amendment that was brought forth to city council in 2019. It's been kicked around for 2 years now, and our current mayor won't even allow it to be read for consideration. Michelle, he says, and I know you can hear me when I say, he says that the reason is because he thinks it's divisive to bring a non-discrimination amendment. And he said that he doesn't think that discrimination exists within Tucker. That is insane. And I recognize that because I speak to conservatives every day on conservative media, representing the Democratic counterpoint. That is coming from a place of privilege, from a straight white man who's probably never experienced discrimination himself. So that's easy for him to say, but we know for a fact that discrimination happens right here in Tucker. There was a young lady who had a miscarriage and went to the Walgreens pharmacy and was denied her prescription for a miscarriage, not an abortion, a miscarriage. There were employees who were fired at one of our breweries here because they refused to wear skirts when they identify as males. So it's stuff like that. That's just, the city has a responsibility to look out for these people. And frankly, this is a financial thing. We can't afford the bad PR for Tucker. We can't afford lawsuits. We need to protect people, also to protect our financial interests and to protect the financial interests of the citizens.
Right, and that is so true. Honestly, when we speak to the diverse population, of course, you're going to hear many different answers, but the majority, as you said, because we have a lot of minorities within Tucker and it's vastly growing, you will hear that Tucker in some parts is like time trapped. It's like it's stuck in the past. Exactly.
Right. And one thing about Mayberry, let me say this about Mayberry. Did you see anybody other than white people in Mayberry? No. And I am so tired of Tucker being called Mayberry, because that's what we're trying to get away from, because it is actually extremely diverse here in Tucker. And I love it. That's part of why I'm here. That's why I wanted to raise my children here, so they could see and experience what real life is going to be like when they reach adulthood and get out in the real world.
Absolutely. Yep. They have to have that, inclusivity. They have to have, that transparency. They have to be able to understand that, we have, diversity everywhere. And, that's why it's so important with everything going on with the diasporas that's, going around, so that everybody understands that, we are a part of something much greater, and it should not come down to race or sexuality or anything as such, because at the end of the day, as we said, we are people, bottom line, just people.
Everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect at the end of the day. It's something that was drilled into my brain as a soldier, and that's what I want to bring to Tucker, and to make sure that we protect everyone and that all residents are treated with dignity and respect, and that there are laws in place to ensure that that happens.
Amazing. Well, we definitely appreciate you and the road that you're, traveling and this
Thank you.
fight. We're behind you 100%, especially Team In the House Media, Next Level Promotion, definitely behind you on that. And what would you say, as with the same lines, we talked about what the pandemic did, and the homes and so forth. Do you think that it's imperative to build new homes or expand on commercial spaces, or should we do some form of rehabbing?
It's a multi-pronged process. I'll tell you that right now, the vacancy rate for commercial properties in Tucker is a little less than 4%, which is right where it needs to be. But there are still some spaces you've driven through the city, you've driven down in Lawrenceville Highway, you've seen some of those vacant storefronts on Main
Yes.
Street and some of the vacant manufacturing buildings. I would love to
Yes.
get some of the film industry occupying some of those manufacturing spaces. There,
Yes.
we haven't capitalized on any of that, and we live right here in Atlanta, the Hollywood of the South. So
Yes.
I hope that people like Sean Woods can get elected and bring some
Yes.
of his expertise from the film industry in here.
Yes.
Um, as far as homes, we've got to start building affordable housing. This is one of
Thank
the
you.
last affordable places to live just outside of Metro Atlanta. It's about a 30-minute drive to get to downtown Atlanta from here. You can still get a house here for a little under $200,000. It's a pretty nice home, but we need
Right.
affordable housing. I was just in a meeting tonight. They're going to be building townhomes that they were calling affordable, and the rent is $2,000 a month. That's about what my mortgage is for this great big house. So
Right.
that is not affordable. We need actual affordable housing. What we really need, Michelle, are when they start wanting to build some of these apartments, a certain percentage of those have got to be set aside and reserved for low-income housing tax credit and affordable
Yes.
housing properties and voucher programs. It doesn't have
You
to be the
answered
entire.
some of the questions I had for you. Thank you for going
Yeah.
into that. Yes,
It doesn't have to be
absolutely.
all entirely that, but a certain percentage of it absolutely needs to be set aside for that.
Yes, I concur. So that deletes the next question because you ran right into it, and I appreciate you, expounding on that. We mentioned Main Street. You talked about, the expansion and possibly
Yeah.
bringing in that culture. So do you believe right now that Main Street is healthy and successful as it is, or you would definitely want to see the changes we discussed?
No, I want to see changes. Main Street can do better. I was just at Hot Betty's for a Tucker Business Association meeting, and I'll
Love
tell you
Hot
that
Betty.
there are vacant storefronts on either side, to the left and right of that. That's not okay. And I don't understand why the mayor has his signs up on vacant storefronts on Main Street. I don't necessarily think
I
that's a
saw that
good
as
look.
well.
I don't think that's
I
a good
saw
look.
that as well. I drove by, and yeah, I was right there by the post office today, and I went around the curb. I'm like, but anyway.
I don't get it. I wouldn't put my signs on a vacant storefront on Main Street, but that's okay. But no, we can do better. And I'm really pleased that the owner of that building is open to the idea of installing a rooftop dining
Wow.
space all above
Oh,
that
that would
entire.
be awesome.
That would be great. If elected mayor, I want to do everything I can to make sure that that happens, because that would be a
Yes.
huge draw for Main Street.
Oh,
And also,
absolutely.
I want to tell you this: City Council is considering. There's about a 3-acre piece of land behind that shopping center on Main Street, behind Hot Betty's and Local 7, that
Mm-hmm.
is currently, you may have noticed, or maybe you didn't notice, that there's a tractor trailer lot behind there on Main
It
Street
is.
in the city center. They're considering purchasing that and turning it into parking and green space and possibly an amphitheater. I will be advocating for the amphitheater portion.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't
Yes.
it? We need that
Yes.
so desperately on Main Street. So that's what I'm
Yes.
pushing hard for. We can either get, their proposal calls for 178 spaces or 78 parking spaces, green space, and an amphitheater. That's what I want.
Wow. I definitely love the ideas. I can see the rooftop. I
Yeah.
already have plans for the amphitheater, so we're going to speak it into existence. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Let's.
yes, yes, yes. I'm definitely going to work some wonders with Sean on everything that he has envisioned, and you as well, because you have some great ideas also.
Thank
So
you.
definitely, would love for you and Mr. Dorn, Dr. Dorn, let me stop saying Mr. Dorn, Dr. Dorn, come together and, let's bring everything to full fruition.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. We've got some amazing candidates running. I just want to
yes,
say,
we do.
Alexis Weaver, with her background in, she's got her master's degree in urban planning and design. Oh my God, that would be such an
Mm,
asset to city council. And of course, Sean Wood with his connection to the film industry. Monty
yes,
Barnes for that district. I mean, she's a scientist. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome to have a scientist be giving us some of the recommendations
absolutely.
that she sees
Yes.
for coronavirus? I mean, we've got some great talent. I'm excited about this election.
Yes, I am as well. You guys are definitely amazing in my book. So,
Thank
and
you.
my book is very wise, if I must say so
Yes.
myself. So, if you could change one thing in our zoning code, what would it be and why?
I would revisit the urban camping thing because I don't think that it's right to criminalize our homeless. That was done. I don't think enough people had eyes on that. I'm very deeply concerned that that's not going to work the way that the intent of the law was. Like I said, the intended law to arrest them, to try and rehabilitate them. Okay, I get it in theory, but it's just not going to work. We need to sorry if I sound heated, but it makes me upset when I hear about criminalizing
You're
the
passionate
homeless.
about it. Yes.
Yeah, and these people, a lot of them have substance abuse issues, mental health problems. We can get them
Yes.
referred to places. Also, Sean Woods has a plan for bringing e-gaming and coding classes fall within the purview of Parks and Recreation. I think that's a great idea. I would love to see that
Yes.
incorporated with some retraining of some of our homeless. If they could get into the coding classes and learn some skills that would be very current, because of course you see every day that certain jobs are being replaced by automation. So let's start retraining some of these people, give them the skills that they need to have viable jobs in a changing economy.
Okay, awesome. I definitely will speak to Sean a little bit more on that also. I didn't know that portion of it. But of course, I also have some expertise as far as, coordinating, implementing plans. I'm used to work with the city of Danville, so
Oh
with
yeah.
Parks and Recreation. So definitely a plus. And have some great incentives to push him along the way with that. So yes, we'll definitely speak more about it. Amazing. Okay. So, if you are elected, what three steps would you take to put Tucker on a firmer financial footing?
The first thing that we must do is pass the non-discrimination ordinance. I pledge to put that on the council agenda for consideration within the first 60 days because that's going to protect the financial interest of the city and protect the financial well-being of the residents of Tucker. We also must balance the budget and have a plan going forward that goes beyond 2026 when the SPLOST funds runs out, special local option sales tax. Those funds run out in 2026. They've been used to develop and rehabilitate our parks, but we have no way to fund those after 2026. So I would love to see developer paid impact fees. These developers that are building all of these townhomes and housing, I think should be paying for the infrastructure that they damage when they put up new construction. And
Yeah,
most of the other municipalities around Atlanta do implement developer paid impact fees. Now, that's not going to be popular with my developer friends. I am in commercial real estate, but it's the
right.
right thing to do. It's
To
not going to
do.
make me popular with my peers, but it is the right thing to do. That will get us financially solvent going past 2026. We also need to look closer at our watershed fees. Right now, they're still at the baseline, which is $48 a year. Most of the other municipalities have raised theirs to about $66 a year so that we can work toward taking ownership and possession of some of the stormwater drains and sewers, sanitary sewers, because right outside my home, I have a pretty nice house, but right outside my home is a giant sinkhole, and that's one of over 300 sinkholes within the city limits because DeKalb
Mm,
County isn't doing anything. The county, I've been told, that the residents are having to sue the county to take any action on the collapsed storm drains. So
Wow.
we need a little bit more financial reserves so that we can get these fixed and hold DeKalb County. We're paying taxes, you're paying taxes, I'm paying taxes. They can be better stewards of our money. And I would love, Michelle, to have a full-time employee whose sole job will be to coordinate the repair with DeKalb County of these 300 collapsed storm drains before we take ownership of that, because it's not fair to just pass that problem on to the city of Tucker and give us, I'll tell you, each one of those costs about $200,000 a piece to fix. So I don't want us to inherit that. And DeKalb County's got the resources. They got our tax money. They can fix it.
Yep. I agree. Put the tax money to work. Let it do what it's supposed to do.
Right.
Yes, kudos.
With hopefully avoiding another special local option sales tax. I'd love to avoid one of those. So let the developers pay that with the impact fees.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, absolutely lovely home. And I know your home has history. We'll talk about that later.
It does.
I know the history, but we will talk about that later. But absolutely amazing. Okay, so if someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure in Tucker, how would you evaluate whether or not that the project was worth implementing?
There's a lot of steps that are involved in that. There's of course planning commissions. There's peer review boards that look into this. We've got a really good system of reviewing those things in Tucker, and we have to do an impact study also to see how that would impact the schools, to see how that impacts the existing infrastructure. So that's one thing that I would love to do, is start doing impact studies so that we can plan for additional traffic. If you talk to any resident within Tucker, the first thing they're going to bring up to you as a problem is the traffic. They're going to talk to you about the traffic on Hugh Howell Road. They're going to talk to you about the traffic on Mountain Industrial. And I've looked at the traffic studies. They look disastrous if we don't do anything. We're going to be in gridlock in about 15 years if we don't do things right now to address the traffic. So it's going to have to be we're going to have to do some impact studies. We're going to have to start looking at things like traffic circles and some traffic management things, and frankly some widening of some roads. But we've got to address the infrastructure because we can't.
The transportation, I believe.
Thank you. Yes. Both of the CIDs, Tucker Summit CID and Northlake CID, both want to bring. They're very passionate. One of their top three things is that they want MARTA expanded here. I think that's a fantastic thing. I've advocated for that before, but we have to do it a different way, Michelle, because it's not going to work if we just put it up for another bond referendum. The last two of those failed. So we're going to have to think outside of the box and look for some other ways to fund this, because it will never pass with a bond referendum.
Right. So true. Well, I'm definitely on board with finding a resolution to the traffic jams, because it's horrendous. It goes all the way down to Jimmy Carter, and then the opposite direction to Hairston. So it's like, because Tucker is stuck right in between Jimmy Carter and, of course, Hairston and Memorial Drive. So you're like,
it can be so bad.
Look, thank goodness that we know the back roads in Tucker. That's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for Waze. If you don't have it, viewers, download Waze. That's the only way to get around in Atlanta.
Exactly. I so love it. All right. So if you did receive $1 million in grants, how would you utilize that for Tucker? And why?
It would be for the children. It would be for, I don't want to steal Sean's thunder, but I love his plan for e-gaming and coding and putting that under the purview of Parks and Recreation. I think that's great because, look, not all kids like sports. My kids aren't really all that into sports because they came from the Rocky Mountains where it snowed 8 months out of the year. So, that I would love. There's a proposal right now for about $1 million project for one of the stadiums. I think that could be good because we could have some fairs, we could have some festivals. I'm not sure that is the right exact park for that. But I think we need that. I think some more public spaces for us all to enjoy, for our children to enjoy. Something, we need an asset. We need a public asset for Tucker.
Yes, definitely. And I think that would go hand in hand with some of the course curriculums that Tucker High has for the students,
Yes.
especially with the robotics.
I was just going to say the robotics club.
Yes, the computer engineering, because STEM is very important. And I think that that's definitely a great idea. So I'm looking forward to everything that you've mentioned and totally bringing.
We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done, Michelle.
Yes. Yes, look, I'm ready. Look, I'm
Yes,
so ready.
We are ready for change. I am over the status quo. I'm over the good old boy network. It is time to break up those, because those only benefit the people at the top. It's not benefiting you and me. It's not benefiting people of any socioeconomic that is below maybe upper middle class. The good old boy network benefits upper middle class and above, and that ain't me. Mm-hmm. Don't be fooled by this nice house. I didn't pay much for it.
Look, I love it. It's gorgeous, and it has history.
It's
and
taken a lot of work. Yeah, it is very me, but it's taken a lot of work.
Yes, but it's so you. I love it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So tell me what is more important, acting in response? And I know the answer to it already because you said it so many times, but I want you to reiterate it so the viewers can, grasp it. Yes. What is more important, acting in response to the will of the people, or acting in the way city officials believe is the best course of action?
The will of the people. It's always about the people. I am running for office to be a public servant. Period. Full stop. Public servant. I did 10 years of service to our country as an Army Ranger. I am offering myself to be your public servant, your voice. I don't need this for my ego. The position pays $20,000 a year. I don't really need that. But it's about service to the community. It's about showing my children this is what it means to help your community and to be a public servant.
Yes, I so love it. Well, I would love for you to look into the camera, let the viewers know where they could follow you on all social platforms and your campaign information for us.
Absolutely. So all of my social media is the same, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, it's all at Robin Biro. That's ROBINBIRO. That's the same with my campaign website is robinfortucker.com. That's FOR, Robin, FOR, Tucker.com. There's ways to donate there. There's ways to get involved. I would love to get some yard signs out to some more yards. So make sure that you send me a message on Facebook. Just drop me a message. I check it all the time. I will be happy to I'll get a yard sign out within the hour if you send me your address. My kids love putting yard signs out.
Let's get these yard signs out and volunteering or whatever it is.
Knocking on doors, making those calls, sending those texts. Now we're pretty much doing digital campaigns because of COVID. So it's texting phone banks. And if we go door to door, it's just putting door knockers on people's doors. So we can coordinate it all. I've got the most amazing campaign staff. The Democratic Party's been helping me out with identifying some staff and volunteers, and we're getting it together. So we have a lot of fun. And we have a lot of fun.
Keep us surprised because, with InDaHouseMedia and of course, Next Level Promotion, we do a lot within the community. We did the same thing in Fulton. We went out during COVID, when we were only allowed to do the same things, mobile, door knockers, and we were with groups, we put it out there, and some people actually came out. We followed and we actually interviewed some people that were open to it and just captured footage of, the candidates interacting. And that's what we're going to do with you as well. So you have us behind you 100%. I told you that from the start. I just love the energy and just seeing you with the kids, your children, as well as, the kids on the field. You were like a big kid yourself with them, and the smiles. It was authentic. It wasn't forced, and it was just very heartwarming. So thank you for that. I truly
I appreciate
appreciate that.
it.
Absolutely.
I do love having my kids. I love family life. Even though it's only been 2 years, man, I couldn't imagine it any other way.
Oh, well, I know they love you because it was written all over their face. So thank you very much for all that you're doing. And, excellent answers.
Thank you.
It's authentic. I believe
from the heart. It's just from the heart.
Yes.
Yeah,
I definitely believe that you, Robin Byro, stand for the changes that the community needs. Thank you again for gracing our platform and allowing us to be a part of this with you. I'm here to support you right through and even after. And to our viewers, please make sure you exercise your right to vote.
Please.
Utilize it. Your voice counts.
Local elections matter. Local elections, that's where it's at. We don't get involved enough at the local level, but I'm telling you, that's what affects your life more than anything else.
Absolutely. Your voice does make a difference, and be that difference that you seek. Exercise your right to vote. And this segment, of course, of House Call was powered by Next Level Promotion, of course, Dr. Dorn with InDaHouseMedia, and in part with the Lake Pavilion, one of our other venues and sponsors. And as always, we thank you for tuning in to House Call, where we do welcome everyone in the house, and all we require is for you to pay it forward. So until next time, this is your host, Michelle Diamond, and mayoral amazing candidate, Robin Byro. Until next time, guys, stay tuned for everything that we're going to be following with Robin Byro. Mwah. Yay!
Yay! That was great.